You're listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast with your host, Maggie Moggin.
Hi, small business owners. Welcome to the Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast, where we focus on creating brilliant breakthroughs for the small business owner. FYI, this is also the name of the #1 Amazon best-selling book series for small businesses. And it's titled Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner, Fresh Perspectives on Profitability, People, Productivity, and Finding Peace in Your Business. And you can get a digital copy or paperback by going onto Amazon and picking it up there. The book we're referencing today is volume 2 in the book series. It's with the emerald green cover. So today's conversation is with a #1 best-selling business author from the 2018 book, Nancy Clairmont Carr. So I want to say hello, rock stars of small business. My name is Maggie Moggin, #1 best-selling business author and creator of the Brilliant Breakthroughs annual business book series. And for over 15 years, I've been a master business coach and trainer at Brilliant Breakthroughs, Inc. Today, we're here to talk about and with Nancy Clairmont Carr. So welcome, Nancy, and congratulations on recently becoming a #1 best-selling business author.
Thank you, Maggie. It feels wonderful, I have to say.
Well, I bet it feels a little more than wonderful. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that.
There really is. It's been a wonderful journey. Gosh, I've learned so much through the process of writing the chapter in the book. And so it does feel wonderful, though, to be, recognized the book as a #1 seller. This is a huge success because we're going to reach a lot more people. So I'm pretty excited about the process and the results, the whole package.
Cool. So everyone, let's share, Nancy, what you've been up to. Your chapter topic in the 2018 book, it's the second chapter, and it's titled Higher Consciousness Creates Higher Profitability. And that's like really loaded. So I'd like to start by asking you the question, what is the definition of a higher consciousness? Let's start with life before we even drill it down to business.
Okay, I think that's a good question. I see it as being in alignment with what we know is in our highest good and then living it. And so because we're business owners, it means living it in our business and in all areas of our life, but we're focusing on business. So to do that, to be in alignment and follow what is in our highest good, we really need to remove any false beliefs, energetic blockages that encumber us. And this then allows us to be authentic, speak our truth, and surrender to the guidance of our higher self. And this is really through accessing our intuitive gifts. So creating this kind of a life or way of being is the work I do.
That makes a lot of sense. And, when you're talking about false beliefs, Nancy, I know some of our false beliefs are from our personal belief system, and others are from things that we hear, like some of the myths of business, and we take those on as our own truths, and they're not true. So you talk about that as also breaking through, correct?
That's a great way to describe it, Maggie. Actually, what I found through my research and personal life both is that over 80% of our beliefs are with us just when we are born. And then the other 20% are developed from what you just described, our personal experience, people talking at us, how we live our life and our experiences. And so the beliefs that we live by, because they really govern our behavior, our actions, and therefore our output and our results, are very deep-seated And quite frankly, most of us don't even know what those beliefs are. Like when I work with people, I, you can ask people, what are some of your key beliefs? They can name a couple, like one or two, but there's really a whole cadre of them that drive everything we do. And so it's really getting at those deep-rooted beliefs to say what is not serving, how you want to live your life, how you want to run your business, what you're really trying to create. And so that's the exciting part, is it is possible to change our energy footprint and change what governs our behavior, and then therefore changes how we might run our business and the impact that we can make. So that's really the focus of what I share in my chapter 2. This higher consciousness creates higher profitability. We can drill down a little bit more, but that's really, to talk about beliefs, it's important to know that we come in with basic beliefs and then we acquire more, and it's really addressing those that helps us change our output.
Well, I love that, Nancy, because this is an ancient teaching that says right thoughts and right actions create success. And it's something that I blog about often. You'll always see that right thoughts, right actions. And for you to say, if we change our energetic footprint and behavior, we change everything. I'm paraphrasing. To
That's
me,
right.
I know that as a truth. I see it in my own business and I see it in my clients' business. And all the success stories always say this in one fashion or another. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
So this is a great segue into the next question that I have is, can you tell us about the decision to create a higher conscious life and why someone might want to even do this?
Yeah. Becoming more conscious, or raising our vibration, or creating higher consciousness, you can describe it in multiple ways. It really is a decision. And I think people come to that state through a number of ways. But ultimately, it's because something's not working the way we want it to work.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's either our life at home or our relationship, the business. There's some aspect of what we're doing, what we're being, that isn't working the way we either want it to, the way we thought it should, and it doesn't create joy and peace and contentment inside and those higher vibrational feelings that we want. And so I think you become exposed to the possibility by being around people who have that within, right? You see that in others. You experience a feeling that's different when you're around certain people. And you say, I want that. Or you say, there's something really wrong. I messed up. I need to change everything within me. And that was the latter was me. I didn't really have a role model at the time, but I knew that I had to make some fundamental changes. So it's a decision. I believe it's a decision to change what governs us, and knowing that we want to create something different in our lifestyle, in our life.
So there's, I call it often a moment of choice. And it doesn't matter if it's like, hey, what the heck happened? Or, oh, I want that, or I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
There comes that choice, that decision, as you call it, to go ahead and say, there's another way of being, and I need to check that out. Yes?
Yep, exactly. And it is about being. I have been affiliated with another organization for almost 20 years, and we talk about humans being more. And that's a fundamental philosophy I have, is about, being more than I am now. It doesn't mean I'm not good now, but gosh, there's always potential to improve, right? Or to be more authentic or more of whatever. But it is that, you're right, another way of being, definitely.
Right, because if there's another way of being, then that means there's another way of doing.
Yep.
And that takes us there, which is, so what is this process and how can people actually change their consciousness? Because we're talking
Okay.
about a different way of being, right?
Yep, exactly. And it is a process. That's a good way to ask the question. In my coaching and working with business owners and other individuals, first I like to understand what is it they want to create. How do you want your life to be different? Because who you are is going to create that. And out of that, what's important to you is then how you create your business and the values and principles you live by as you do your business. So this all relates to that. And so identifying what's important and what is that lifestyle or life you want to create for yourself. After we understand that first overarching purpose or intention, then the entire process after that is to tap into their higher self, to be guided by what's in their best interest, and to be able to access solutions that will then help them to create this life, this business that will help them, make the impact that they desire. And we do that in the most efficient way possible. When you're working with your higher self or your spirit as a guide, everything is the most efficient and optimal approach that's possible. So
Right.
the changes that we make during the process are permanent. And what's I have found the most interesting in the process is letting go of being in control of yourself and surrendering to this higher self or spirit that actually has real-time solutions. Over time, however, my clients ultimately see the value of that, and so it becomes a practice of being willing to surrender to that and develop that intuition and that access to infinite intelligence to be guided to those optimal solutions. So that's the process. Doing it with them, teaching them how to do it, and I guess as a former teacher, I'm always about empowering the student to go forth and multiply on their own. So it's that process of teaching and then now go do. And so that's what I do. And so I thought what might be interesting here is to just include a little bit about the process, if that's okay.
Sure. We have a little time.
I like to share. I talked about an energetic footprint, and I like to help people. So I do coaching of energy principles, how they can apply them, and then we use some energy healing and energy work protocols. I do some with them in the coaching process, and then I teach them how to do some of them, and so they have homework. But there's really a group of principles that must be learned in order to live at this higher consciousness lifestyle over time. Those are called the laws of the universe, which I know you know, Maggie. And so I thought what might be interesting is just to share a few of those, because I know people will relate to these, maybe not in the exact words, but they will start to see the connection. So the first one that I like to share with people is the law of divine oneness, and that really everything is connected to everything else. And that includes, our behavior. Everything we do is going to affect others, and their behavior is going to affect us. And when you start to understand that principle, you change your behavior. If you think that your actions don't have an impact on others, you're free to do what you want, right? But when you realize they have everything to do with how it impacts others, you think differently.
Right.
The second one I really love is the law of vibration. And some people may have heard of that everything in the universe has a vibrational level, everything moves, and that includes both the physical world and our thoughts. And when people understand that every sound, everything has its own vibrational frequency, and that by raising your own vibration, you can tap into different things, that's like a really cool tool. That is kind of an awareness that helps people realize it's worth it, because the potential outcome of changing your vibration is huge. The third one I like to share is, and there's 12, but I'm just going to talk about 3 or 4, the law of cause and effect, which this is probably the most common one, right? What we reap, we reap what we sow. And so that's not just a physical thing again. And the thing I try to communicate with people on that law is that the power of our thoughts is everything. So I know some people have heard of the power of intention or the word intention, and realizing how to use that on an everyday basis in their work,
Yep.
how to set intentions to create a beautiful outcome, that actually drives the energy that we put into it then. So that's a very powerful law. And then the last one that I know most people have heard is the law of attraction. Likes attract. And so, if you're thinking a certain way, you're going to attract other like-minded people. And that if you are a negative energy person, you're going to attract a lot of that negative energy into your life. And so the goal of working with my clients, like I'll just take that one for an example. When you increase your consciousness, it's about raising your vibration. And we just talked about, we all have a certain level of vibration. Well, if you can raise your vibration significantly, you're changing your whole energetic footprint, and you're going to be able to change significantly what you can create. So I teach those principles in a very everyday way. When I work with people, we coach, and then we do the protocols, we do, energy work, we do energy healing, and it shifts them permanently, and it's a cumulative thing. So that's really the process that I use with people, and it's over time. These things don't happen overnight.
Right. They don't happen overnight, and it's a matter of practicing. Even in, this, Nancy, that in the chapter of productivity, I talk about the universal law of diminishing returns. And universal laws happen whether we're applying them or not. And whether we're becoming practitioners of them or not. So I encourage everybody to pay attention to the universal laws, because Nancy's spot on. They're happening all the time. They're universal, they're laws. That means that they happen. And they're always happening no matter who you are and what you're up to. So you might as well figure out how to work with the laws to create what you choose to. And you started to share some of the benefits of, or the results of this process. We're talking about how you're creating the life and the business that you intend to. What are some of the other benefits that you're seeing, Nancy?
Okay. I think there's, I put them into maybe three categories. The first thing, from a very personal standpoint, you become very much more trusting of yourself and others. You become more non-judgmental of self and others, because as you increase your vibration, you're increasing your own self-love. You become more authentic. And these aren't temporary states. They're permanent states. So think about when you're around somebody who's really, we use the phrase, comfortable in their skin, right?
Right.
Yeah, they usually have either they came in with a higher level of vibration, or they've done the work, but they're comfortable with themselves, and therefore they make you feel comfortable because they're not judging you. So I think that's one of the most profound effects of this work, is to just be much better with yourself. The second thing that I like to say is we're able to manifest our intentions much more easily, because not only can we access our intuition, but by doing so, we are more creative. We connect with others in a different way. We see things differently. The obstacles that were in our way before, they're no longer there, because we're seeing the universe. We're seeing everything so much differently, and therefore we can manifest much more efficiently, quickly, and precisely. And then I say the third thing I like to say is, and maybe this was a part of that other one, but our paradigms change, and so a result of that, we might change from an attitude of divisiveness to maybe one of more unity consciousness, and that sort of takes in that first law of divine oneness, because we are all connected. We might go from more of a a feeling of lack and scarcity to one of abundance because we're no longer so competitive. We move into a more cooperative state. And the other thing that I think is a really profound difference, you'll notice that many people use external validation to feel good. Well, that changes to one of internal, validation. And that's sort of back to we trust ourselves more and we don't need to be validated by the external world as much. So when you think about those changes that you might experience internally, think about how that affects people at your work, how it might affect the intentions that you set, what you're trying to create, how you interact with people. It affects every single area of your work, quite frankly. And as a result, things, I like to say it moves along more like clockwork, and you're able to manifest more quickly. The profit shows up more quickly. And so there truly is a relationship. It's a one-to-one relationship with higher consciousness creates higher profitability. And that's sort of the end result.
I love that, and I know it to be true. Oh man, there's so much more that I'd like to discuss, but I think we need to save it because we have several more interviews to have with you throughout the year.
I agree. It's exciting, and I just want to tell people, be sure to read the book, and particularly I like to reference back to the chapter. You can learn more about that in the chapter. But okay, go ahead, Maggie.
Nancy doesn't know that I'm going to tell you just to do that next. So hang tight, Nancy. Listeners, here's how you can learn more on how to engage with #1 best-selling business author, Nancy Clairmont Carr. Start by reading Chapter 2 about higher consciousness creates higher profitability in the #1 new release book and bestseller, Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner, Volume 2, with the green cover. And a gift for your business's performance. We want you to take advantage of this gift. Nancy is inviting you to visit her author page, which is at the end of her chapter. She has a special invitation for you. It's very relevant if you want to learn more about this and improve your business's profit, and it's free. Plus, there's all sorts of other handles of different social media sites for you to connect with Nancy Clairmont Carr. Now, why I'm saying Nancy's full name is because in our 2017 book, we also have Nancy Lucchese, who focuses on mobile apps. So 2 very different conversations, 2 very different wonderful women. So here's the deal. Right now, there's something really cool that you can do. You can get a hold of Nancy. If you have the book, you know how to reach out to Nancy. And if you don't, you can also go to our books app that is a free download. And the app is Brilliant Biz Book. All one word, Brilliant Biz Book. Download it at your app store. And once it's downloaded, if you have a question specific to Nancy Clairmont Carr about her topic, you can click Ask an Expert and type in your question. An email will go to Nancy, and Nancy will reply back to you. Pretty cool bonus, I think. Don't you, Nancy?
Absolutely. I support that. I encourage you guys to check it out.
Okay, cool. And Nancy, we want to thank you for your time and wisdom sharing today.
Thank you, Maggie. It's always fun to share what you're passionate about, so I really appreciate it.
You got it. And listeners, we appreciate you listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs podcast, where you learn about how to create more brilliant breakthroughs for your small business. We'll be back again next week. So until then, shine brightly.